have a good number of participants tonight. All right, so let me introduce myself. I'm Jovi De Loreto. I'll be your MC for tonight. I am an entrepreneur from Cavite. I've seen a lot of people here in our chat box, so just keep on coming, no? I think I can welcome a few people. We have Calvin Time from Singapore. Welcome. Okay. I think he is a first-time attendees. Again, welcome to our first-time attendees as well as to our regular attendees. Okay. We have Dr. Rico and Benny Santos, a physician from Marikina. We also have Rocky from Davao. Welcome. Okay, we have Raquel. Welcome, Raquel and Ronald. We have Sabine from Marikina, a student. We also have Mr. Titus Manuel, an IT professional and a data privacy practitioner from Quezon City. Welcome. So we have our co-founder of CCG, our organizer for tonight's event. Okay. So this event is brought to you by CCG Philippines and Nutrilite. CCG is a search and development organization. No? We believe in being healthy, wealthy, and wise. And this event for tonight is actually on the health part. Okay. So how many of you here are excited tonight? Again, can I see some thumbs up in the chat box, or you can make an exclamation point. Yan. Ian, excited to learn. Awesome. Okay, Nico as well. Dr. Rico and Miss Benny. Wow. Zella, if I pronounce it correctly. All right, so I think I will not take much of our speaker for tonight. But before I do that, I'd like to encourage you to turn on your webcam so we can see each other's face, and later on we will be having a breakout room after the talk. So you will be invited to click a join button. It's gonna be a smaller room where you can actually be together with the person who invited you. And also, if you have questions along the way during the presentation, you can privately message me. That would be an awesome thing to do because our speaker will be doing her talk and might not be able to see your messages or questions. So it would be best to private message me. Okay. So let me introduce to you our speaker for tonight. By background, she is a diplomate of Philippine Pediatric Society. She is also an affiliate of several private hospitals in Valencia City, Bukidnon. She is also a project coordinator of Davao Pediatric Cancer Care Network in Valencia City Satellite. Okay, she's actually a proud mother of 2 kids, and we are very blessed to have her with us to share with us some smart parenting techniques, no, for this Gen Wired. Okay, the smartphone generations. So now Please help me welcome Dr. Chanda Oy.
Yes, thank you for that kind introduction. Good evening for the participants here in the Philippines, for our friends in other countries. Good morning or good afternoon. Tonight, we're going to talk about the health of our kids, particularly the wired generation. This pertains to the kids who are born with accessibility to internet 24 hours, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. They are the kids with access to electronic devices available in their homes. We call them the digital natives because they are born with it. And for them, it's already natural to have all those access. So that's why we are wondering why our kids are complaining if they don't have the Wi-Fi connection. Because for them, it's already part of their lives. What is so alarming is that Philippines is considered as a texting capital of the world, which also means that we are using too much already the access of this digital world. So the caution of this is for the kids without proper care and caution, our kids may use the technologies in a way not healthy for them in the long run. What are then the associated risk if their use to electronic devices is not controlled? This will then lead to some consequences such as problem with the physical health, mental health, or their functioning. Mental health, physical health means the presence of other diseases acquired with a sedentary lifestyle and too much exposure to gadget. Mental health meaning the impairment of their ability to feel, to think, and to express themselves, and even how to uh, deal with the stress in their lives. Years ago, there are alarming reports about the associated health risk of this prolonged, unsupervised TV exposure or screen time. So, in 2011, the American Academy of Pediatrics issued this policy that for 2 years old below, no allowable screen time, and for 2 years old and above, maximum of 2 hours in a day. That is already cumulative with the use of cell phones, laptops, and other electronic devices. So you might be wondering why so strict to limit to our kids who are 2 years old and below, because it was proven with a lot of studies and researches that this will impair with the cognitive development of the kids. Other associated problems are speech delay and even some behavioral problems. But despite the but we cannot deny that we are already in the digital world and it's already part of our lives. So that's why the American Academy of Pediatrics issued uh, not so strict new guidelines. So it was stated there that there to use the screen time in moderation. So moderation also doesn't mean that we will allow our kids unlimited time to use their cell phones, especially our teenagers. And we have to discuss the pros and cons of using the media. There are a lot of advantages of this, especially with the new teaching mode, the online learning. So kids can get a lot of information from different sites. The negative effects, the risk of this are if they will spend too much time in front of the screen, they have also the higher tendency to watch or to log in to inappropriate sites, watch inappropriate videos or games. It is important to establish the reasonable limits for screen time. So, if you have teenagers, the screen time limit is not the same with the smaller kids. So, for the teenagers, they can have longer time. So, I have encountered some readings that 2 hours for recreational time and the rest for learning screen time. For younger kids, that 2 years old to 5 years old, it is highly suggested that uh, for their during their screen time, there is another adult that will stay with them, that will talk with them, and will interact with them while watching the movie or the videos. It is also important to discuss the rules about the technology. So, example of this, the rules. What are the programs that we allow our kids to access? So, there are some programs that will kids YouTube that will limit access to some violent videos. It's also important to talk the family that will discuss about some rules like no using of gadget during mealtime. It is also highly recommended not to use the gadget 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. But it is the reality. We know the reality that our kids are spending too much time to what we consider as moderate screen time. So, even during 2010, according to Kaiser Foundation study report, that youth spent more than 7.5 hours per day cumulative using their smartphones, their personal computers, TV, and other electronic devices. So what will happen? These are the kids that soon will develop the physical and psychological effects of using too much their electronic devices. Number one complaint is eye strain. So this is the usual complaint for the heavy screen users, because sometimes during video gaming, the kids are so engaged that they are playing the video games for several hours already. The eye strain is also caused by the strain of the eye muscles while staring at the glow from the screen for a prolonged period, and also by the too much eye movement and refocusing, especially during the video gaming. So another condition is the computer vision syndrome. The signs and symptoms are very dry eyes, headaches, eye irritation, pain, squinting, excessive blinking, increased sensitivity to light, and difficulty in focusing. So we observe some of the kids while they are using their cell phones, they tend to put it very near, close to their face. Another health risk is hearing loss. The common source of this is using headphones and earphones. Why? Because don't you know that gadget's maximum volume is equivalent to the jet plane taking off. And this loudness can destroy the sensory cells that convey information to the brain. So for the parents, it's a gentle reminder to every now and then check the headphones of our kids. Maybe they are using it and putting it into the maximum volume. It's very harmful. So that for those with hearing loss, the initial complaint is tinnitus or the tingling sensation inside the ear. Another condition is wrist injuries. This is the results from extensive use of the wrist from clicking a mouse button or the motions associated with gaming controls. This will then lead to repetitive strain injury, and during this time the kids will complain of pain, and then if this is not addressed properly, this will lead to carpal tunnel syndrome. Aside from the pain, they will now complain of tingling sensation or numbness. Another health risk is the neck and back pain, slight hunchback or stiffness. So this is the result from poor posture or slouching while using the computer, sitting at the wrong angle, and constantly looking down at mobile devices. So it is very important that during their online classes to put their laptop in the proper position in order also for the kids to maintain their body, the right position of their bodies. And if the kids are using small devices such as cell phones or tablets, please advise them to bring the phones in higher level to their vision so that they don't have to look down for long hours. Another condition associated with unsupervised prolonged screen time are obesity, high blood pressure, and other cardiovascular diseases. So some parents might be asking, how come the prolonged screen time will lead to obesity? So imagine if your kids are watching TV, using the computer, or playing video games for average of 5 to 6 hours per day. And during that time, the kids are bombarded with TV commercials about high caloric and high sugar fast food meals and snacks. So the result then is childhood obesity. This is a good slide that will show to us about the association of gadget use and sedentary lifestyle to obesity in childhood. So there is here a healthy child spending too much time in his video games and eating unhealthy foods. Aside from the video games, he has also other activity like studying, also a sedentary activity. After a few months, the child will gain some weight. Then the child will become mildly obese child. And if we will ask the child to move around to have his 1 hour physical activities per day, the child will complain that he is not comfortable. So with the continued prolonged screen time, the child will gain more weight, will become moderately obese child. At this time, aside from being uncomfortable doing the physical activities, the child will complain of some pain, so usually leg pain. After a few years, during adolescence, this child will become severely obese child. So by this time, there are some medical conditions that will set in like asthma, diabetes, and some other musculoskeletal diseases. There are also other emotional and psychosocial conditions that this kid will suffer, such as depression or low self-esteem, because the obese child are have higher chance to be bullied as obese. So what will happen? The obese child most likely will become an obese adult. So then at around 20 to 30 years old, that child will develop the lifestyle diseases such as coronary artery disease, diabetes, pulmonary disease. So this is the kind of person who will visit frequently the doctor for medical checkups and for the treatment. And eventually, this person will have a shorter lifespan. So, what are the other diseases associated with obesity? So, we have here high blood pressure, as mentioned earlier, heart attacks and strokes. So, is before a few years ago, stroke is considered as a disease for the older people, but now the patients are becoming younger. So we have 20 years old, 30 years old who already suffered stroke. So we have the involvement of the pancreas. They will suffer the type 2 diabetes. With regards to the imbalance of the hormones, so for the female, they will have the polycystic ovarian syndrome, or what we call the metabolic syndrome. They will also develop gallstones, and they are prone to develop bronchial asthma and sleep apnea. Sleep apnea because of the some obstruction because of the obese structure. So this slide is a very good guide for the parents. This is a guide for us in order to determine if we are giving the right food to our kids every day. So we call this the food pyramid. So at the bottom part, we have here the vegetables and fruits, different colors. It's about 5 to 7 servings per day. So some of our kids don't like to eat the green, they just want the yellow color. So with that, they will develop the nutrient deficiency. So they have also the sources for carbohydrates with the cereals, potatoes, pasta, and rice, and also for the sources of other nutrients, the milk, yogurt, and cheese. For sources of proteins, the fish, the eggs, the beans, the nuts, and the poultry. So the kids also are allowed to take some small amount of fats and oils. What is very pertinent here is at the very top. It is stated here, not every day for the foods and drinks high in fat, sugar, and salt. So the maximum for this is once or twice a week only. But in reality, we know during their school time, so we allow them to bring foods in school, foods that are rich in sugar and also fats. Aside from giving the right foods for our kids, we also need to have the physical activity at least 1 hour per day. So it is advisable to limit the TV watching, playing computer games and video games for only 30 minutes, and then put some break. Then during the break, the kids will do their physical activities. There are a lot of options for that. So the child can engage with the family play. So there is a need of parents' participation for this, and child also can enjoy the free play, moving around by themselves. So like flying kite or playing jumping rope. For those who are in structured sports like kickball, karate, soccer, swimming, it's a very good physical activity for the kids. And to make it simpler, so they are free to move with the music, to dance for around 1 hour per day, and that is already considered a good physical activity. As mentioned earlier with regards to the amount of fruits and vegetables, so the recommendation is 5 to 7 servings per day. It should be raw, and it comes in different colors because different colors also give us different nutrients. So if I'm going to ask the parents, can your child tolerate or can eat all of this per day? So for my kids, I have two kids. The first one really doesn't like the green. She likes only banana, watermelon. So it is almost safe to say na only few kids can comply with this fruits and vegetable requirements per day. Some some parents will ask if their kids need supplements or vitamins. Sometimes my answer is no. If that kid can eat all the foods that are required for the day, and if that kid cannot eat the required foods per day, then that's the time that we need to supplement the kids. For my kids, I use this. I have a 13-year-old girl now. She started taking this when she was 3 years old, so that's around 10 years old. So this is Kids Chewable Concentrated Fruits and Vegetables. One tablet is equivalent to eating tomatoes, spinach, apples, raspberries, oranges. So it also contains different phytonutrients. Aside from that, to fill in the nutrient deficiency, to give the other vitamins and minerals to my kids, I use this Kids Chewable Daily. So aside from the vitamins and minerals, it also contains calcium, magnesium, vitamin C, beta-carotene, iron, zinc, and vitamin B complex. With the start of pandemic last March, my two kids are taking this Acerola C, which contains the 100 milligram vitamin C. So this is from the Acerola cherries, which has 50 to 100 times more vitamin C than the lemons and oranges. This will help a lot to boost their immune system. This is a very good source of antioxidants, and this is also good for repair. If they repair and to recover faster if they have these diseases. Another one is all plant protein. This is a very good source of protein since some of our kids love to eat only foods that are rich in carbohydrates, the bread, the pastas, the bibingkas. So this is a very good alternative as source of protein. So one scoop of this is equivalent to, the protein is more than the one piece of egg. So this gives the 8 grams of protein per serving. So this comes in other flavors. So we have this available as mixed berries and chocolate flavor. My 6 years old loves the one with a chocolate flavor. Another one that is good to supplement for our kids because of their unhealthy diet is the source of omega-3. So what are the benefits of omega-3? So this may fight cancer because it is anti-inflammatory. So this may also prevent ADHD in children or help improve the cognitive problems in patients with ADHD. This will also boost the brain function. Why? Because omega-3 is the main component of the fats in our brain. So if the kid has a good supply for that, also means a healthier brain. So this will also promote heart health and this will prevent to develop the cardiovascular diseases later in life. It comes in two preparations. We have here the soft gel, and the other one is the gummy. So my 13-year-old girl is taking the omega-3 soft gel, while my 6-year-old girl is taking the gummy, the Brainium.
Imagine a world where plants have fingerprints, and where a group of scientists have fingerprinted over 1,300 of the world's botanicals to discover their health benefits, and where every seed is given a unique birth certificate to track its life from seed to supplement. Imagine a group of scientists who search the globe for the best farms on every continent, except Antarctica. Imagine a farm where nature is used to help nature, and where natural pest control is the job of falcons, like copper, and where farmers understand their plants so well that they know the precise moment to harvest to optimize their nutrients. Imagine a supplement company that uses every part of every plant, extracting essential phytonutrients for your benefit, and using the rest of the plant to revitalize the soil on its farms. Imagine a team of engineers so obsessed with product excellence that they run more than 500,000 quality checks a year on their supplements. Or a team of packaging engineers who run more than 30,000 tests in extreme conditions to ensure that your supplements will remain pure, safe, and effective from our door to yours. Imagine a life colored with the power of phytonutrients, nurtured every step of the way. Because at Nutrilite, we believe to get truly traceable supplements, you need to go behind the label. These are the real people that bring to life a world you don't have to imagine. This is the real world of Nutrilite traceability. Imagine a world where plants have fingerprints, and where
So to show to you, these are my kids. This older one is 13-year-old. As I have mentioned, she started taking the kids chewable fruits and vegetables at 3 years old. So it's been 10 years already. So for the last 2 years, she also started taking the lecithin E and the omega-3 to help control her pimples breakouts. So this is my 6-year-old girl. She started taking the kids multivitamins, kids concentrated fruits and vegetables at 3 years old. And this is the girl who loves the gummy, the Brainiums, as a source of the omega-3. So as I have mentioned, the unsupervised prolonged skin exposure will eventually cause health risk, physical health risk. But aside from that, it can also the cause of some mental health illnesses, such as neurosis, or the mental and emotional disturbances that rise from the overuse of technology. Example of this is anxiety or depression. So this is usually experienced by our teenagers. Why depression? Because there is the tendency to compare themselves to others. There is that sense of competition every time they check on their social media. They can see all the happy faces, the celebration, and they feel like people are so happy, and why they are experiencing some failures in life. So we have to remind to our kids that sometimes it's okay to commit mistakes. Another one is delusion, or believing in fame from uploading the viral videos. This is quite flexible because some teenagers will gain this self-confidence if they upload some pictures or videos, and a lot of people will comment that it's good. But there's a tendency that they will believe that life is like that. Uh, According to the mental health task force leaders, the psychiatrists and the developmental PDS specialists, we have to remind them that in real life there are some struggles and they have to go through the hardship in life in order to be successful. Phobia, the common cause of this is the cyberbullying. So not only phobia, but this also result to isolation and as well as anxiety. Another problem with the overuse of technology is the lack of sleep. Why? Because the ambient load from the screen will decrease the release of melatonin. What is melatonin? Melatonin is the sleep chemical. So that's why it is advisable not to use the gadget 2 to 3 hours before sleeping time. So there are times that the kids will complain that they are sleepy, their body is tired, but yet their mind is so active. So that's because the melatonin secretion was inhibited. Kids need adequate sleeping time because poor sleep habits have adverse effects on mood, behavior, and learning. So if you are going to ask how many hours is recommended as the sleeping time, it depends on the age group. So to make it simpler, we have to group the kids for preschooler. So the minimum is 10 hours per day. For elementary kids, 6 to 12 years old, the minimum is 9 hours per day. And for our high school or teenagers, the minimum is 8 hours per day. This one, we don't want this to happen to our kids just because of the overuse of technology that they will suffer some accidents. So don't you know that accidents while driving, you will there's a tendency that you will have accident 4 times while driving and talking on a phone, and it is even higher if you are driving and you are texting. It goes to 8 times. And this is a very familiar scenario, no? We have a lot of teenagers walking along the streets. Instead of looking on the right and looking at the left to make it sure that it is safe to cross, they are so engaged with their cell phones. So this can lead to accidents, or they will sustain injuries while walking or chatting or texting. With that, the goal of this information session is not to get rid of the technology because we have no choice. It's already part of our lives. But for us, for the parents, to guide our kids in order to limit or to prevent the associated risk and to maximize what are the benefits of this technology. Before I would end, I would like to give this as a take-home message. I borrowed this from Attorney Adriana Labardini in Sunza. She said, it requires education, principled thinking, awareness, and discipline to use the internet as a tool for development, rather than a new way to waste time, alienate the mind and body, consume unnecessary stuff, and become more indebted. With that, thank you. Maraming salamat po. And I will give back to our host for tonight.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Chandan. Grabe. I think
Yes,
you all agree
thank you
with
for that
me.
kind introduction. Good
Hello,
evening.
Doc. Yeah, good
Hello po.
evening.
Hello. Yes, good evening.
Yes, that was an awesome presentation, Doc. We've learned a lot. No, I know our guests tonight, the parents here, the titos, the aunt and uncles, or even the grandparents, no, who are taking care of kids on those range, no, really learned so much from your talk, Dr. Chanda.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Do we have some questions which you may want to ask our speaker so she can address it? Oo. Please don't hesitate if you want to. I don't see any questions though. We can entertain at least 2 or 3 questions maybe. Okay. So there's someone here asks, okay, any tips, Doc, for helping kids focus while online classes start?
Hello. Yes. With regard with regards to that, can you hear me, Joby?
Yes, Doc.
Okay.
You're clear. Yes.
The recommendation of the specialist, the developmental pediatrics, they recommend to cut the online classes into segments. It is not advisable to let the kids sit down during the online classes for many hours
Mhm.
because it is not advisable because the focus is really affected and they will complain already of they are uncomfortable. So there is one example example in for elementary students 4 hours. The recommendation is to cut it into 2 hours and a half or 3 hours.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's it, Doc. Okay. Thank you so much for
Yes.
that, Doc,
Oh,
for those tips. No. Okay. Um, are your talk tonight applicable to adults as well? This is a question from Mr. Ayaldres. Applicable? I think is it a question? Yeah. Is it also applicable to adults as well?
my exposure to adults is limited because I am a pediatrician, but
Mhm.
according to some readings, ideally the screen time for adult is also limited to 2 hours, but in reality the range is around 11 hours per day.
Wow.
Some of the diseases like eye strain,
Mhm.
hearing loss, I think also are applicable to adults. They will sustain also those problem if they will engage in not monitored screen time exposure.
Okay, so too much or prolonged use, no, of
Uh,
online as well.
Apo.
Okay, so we have another one, Doc, by Court. So, what do you recommend, Dr. Chanda, as an alternative, no, to use of gadgets? Do we have recommendations that you can give our viewers for tonight on
uh,
alternative
uh,
use of gadgets to the use of
uh,
gadgets?
Alternative, kids are required to use the gadget within the recommended time.
Mhm,
Alternatives to that are free play. So, example for preschoolers,
mhm,
give them clays, crayons, and other. They can have this free play. They can do anything. They can explore.
mhm.
And also for bigger kids, for elementary students, why not engage them to some sports or some other activities or develop their skills like painting, dancing? The most common reason why the teenagers are into gadget use is boredom. So according to the specialist, fill in that reason why our teenagers are hooked to electronic devices.
Agree. I would agree. Okay. Do we still have time, Doc? You can still entertain at least, I think, 2 more questions here.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So, what vitamins did you give to address pimples? I think that's for
Yeah.
your child who had. Well, I don't know if she had breakout.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are a lot of reasons why a
But
certain person will develop pimples. So, pwedeng hormonal imbalance, pwedeng infection. Based on my girl, because she is 13-year-old, most likely it's hormonal imbalance. So that's why I use the omega-3 as the anti-inflammatory as together with the lecithin E. So how the impulse, it depends on the cause also. So for teenagers, usually it's hormonal imbalance.
Okay, so you recommend omega-3, doc,
3 plus lecithin E.
plus lecithin, vitamin E. All right. That's from Nutrilite as well, doc, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The omega-3 and lecithin E are all from Nutrilite.
Okay. So as most of you here know, our sponsor is also Nutrilite in this health talk. Okay, I think I have here one last question that I can, okay, so we can, if you have questions, I can still entertain at least 3 more. So here's another one. Do you recommend juicing your fruits and vegetables for your kids, or just give them as is? If they don't like it that much, the juicing.
Yes,
Um,
it is recommended when we offer fruits and vegetables to our kids to make it attractive. So one of the options is for the fruits to is juicy. So it's okay as long as the nutrients are preserved. So some also the recommendation is to make some shakes, but make it sure that do not add too much sugar.
okay.
Okay.
That's another tip from Dr. Chanda, no? To reduce the putting a lot of sugar from those drinks. Okay. Very nice topic. Do we have more questions coming in? Or I think that's, oh, okay. There's another one here from, okay, let me see. From Miss Olivia Fernandez. So what is the allowable time for use of gadgets for kids here in the Philippines? Although we have also guests from other countries. I think we have from Germany, Japan, and Singapore. So would that also applies to them? The allowable time for use of gadgets, is it 2 hours or more?
The Philippine Pediatric Society is adopting the recommendation of American Academy of Pediatrics. The old recommendation was 2 years old and above is 2 hours, maximum 2 hours per day. But they released the new guidelines. It's not very strict. It's stated duration, but the studies showed that if 5 to 7 hours in a day of gadget use can lead already to the associate health risk for our. So I cannot say the exact time. Recommendation is not to use it longer than 5 to 7 hours, or else they will develop the diseases.
Okay. So those of you who are asking or who wants to try our Nutrilite, which was promoted by Dr. Chanda earlier, I suggest you go back to the friend or the person who invited you in this webinar and shared with them how you can actually access on having Nutrilite for your children. Okay. I think I'll have one last questions if I may just check. Okay, here's a good question, Doc.
Okay.
Her daughter does not eat meat and don't like meat at all because she is concerned of the animals. So the rest of the family is eating. Will the supplement be enough to support her nutritional needs?
Okay. The need to eat meat because of the proteins that we can get from it and also the fats. So if not meat, the another option is eggs or nuts for the proteins if the child can eat. So another option is also is a formula milk, because the formula milk also contains the proteins. And if the child is
Mm-mm.
2 years old and above, they can try the soya protein drink. It contains a high amount of protein, break the amino acids type of proteins na. Okay.
Wow, that's awesome. So, in which foods or drinks do you mix the protein powder of the Nutrilite? Do we just have it as a plain drink to be taken in, or you can mix it with foods or drinks?
Better if the child can tolerate giving it as pure. But some of my friends, and actually my child, doesn't like it as a pure drink, so I mix it with her milk formula. So
Okay.
better if the child can tolerate it as plain. But reality speaking, because of the taste, especially the regular one without flavor, they cannot take it in such preparation na plain lang.
All right. Okay, that was a wonderful sharing, Doc, and answer. So, last question. Okay. For teachers doing online teaching to our kids, so what are your recommendations?
Yeah, actually, there is a gap between the knowledge of the pediatricians to being limited na it is not related to the teachers, because uh, actually I'm not so sure what is the curriculum in school.
Mhm.
Here we are with the online class is not yet starting, but the teachers should not copy the style face-to-face learning to the online learning, because it's different setup. So with regards to the time limits, it should be shorter. They should put breaks in between, and the teaching mode should be engaging, because it's different facing only the screen
Right,
rather than doing it face to face.
exactly.
So I am not so sure if the teachers are having some workshops about it. So that's why I'm actually looking forward for the online classes of my kids. And if
Uh-huh.
I do, if I, wi- I think it's not compatible with what is recommended, I will shift them to modular learning.
Okay, so the parents can actually do that, Doc, if that happens. It
I-
depends.
It depends.
Okay.
Because some of my classmates in abroad with their kids having online learning, they're complaining a lot of problem, headaches, etc. So they don't learn anything. So that's why I'm also contemplating to, instead of online learning, to do the modular curriculum for my kids.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Chanda. We've learned a lot also from those
Well,
questions, guests, no? Attendees, thank you so much for those questions. Um, so if we don't have any more questions, I'd like to promote our event. So tomorrow at 8 p.m., we have this 8 p.m., what we call an 8 p.m. habit. So we'd like to invite you to join us in the No Borders project. This is actually a developing a global mindset for entrepreneurs. So we have Coach Ariel Dries to share with us, no, on the project that we will be sharing with you tomorrow. He is a business and leadership speaker, also a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt coach. So hope you can join us tomorrow night with Coach Ariel Dries. So you can actually screenshot, no, so you can get the meeting ID as well as the password for tomorrow's event. Okay, again, this event is brought to you by CCG Philippines. We are a search and development organization, and our community foster entrepreneurship. No, this business community of ours, as I've mentioned earlier, believes
in being healthy, wealthy, and wise. And tomorrow night would be the wealthy part topic. No, we will talk about business. Okay, so did I miss out anything else? Again, as I've mentioned earlier, you can there's a invitation to join a smaller group. So you can actually chit chat or discuss small discussion with your friends who invited you here. You can let us know through Mr. Ryan Fernandez, who is the co-founder of CCG Philippines. If you want to share or to be in a breakout room. So with that, please stay for a while, and pop-up screen of a breakout room will be on your screen. So just click it to join. Okay, you've been a great audience. Have a good evening, everyone. God bless. Thank you again, Dr. Chanda.
Welcome.
Hope we can invite you again.